In this video, I'll show you how to model a simple object, which is going to be a barrel, which maybe we could use in an adventure game or something when we get to Unity. And so there's going to be two parts to this. The first part is just making the geometry of the barrel, and then the second part is going to be getting the textures on the barrel, and then that's going to get us into UV mapping. So that'll be the second video. But in the first video, we're just going to get the shape of the barrel going. So what I'm going to do here is just delete the default cube. I'm not going to need that. So I just clicked on it and then hit delete. And now what I'm going to do is bring in a new mesh. It's going to be a cylinder, because a cylinder is pretty close to a barrel. So to do that, I can come up here to the Add button, or I could just hit Shift A, and that will bring up the Add menu. It's the same thing. I can click on it here. I can do Shift A. It's the same thing. And I want to add a cylinder mesh. There we go. So there's a cylinder. Now, if I bring this into Unity, this thing is going to be about twice the size it should be. So I'm going to scale it down by 50%. So to scale something uniformly, it's S to scale, followed by the amount. So it's going to be S.5, enter. So S.5, enter. I've now scaled that down 50%. All right, now let's raise the thing up so it's sitting on the ground. So it's sitting on that YX plane over there. So I'm going to go into the front viewport. So to do that, I'm going to hit the tilde key, and you'll see I get some different options here, and then I'm going to select front. And eventually you'll get to the point where you can remember all this on the numeric keypad. But I use the tilde key and then pick the one I want. So now I'm in the front view, and now I'm going to raise this barrel up so that it is sitting on the ground here. So let me G to grab. G is for grabbing or moving. And then I want to pick the axis. So Z is up and down, right? So X would be left and right. Z is up and down. So G, Z, and then I can move this up and down. Now see how I'm locked onto that axis. Now if I want to move it kind of in so it snaps to these grid lines, I can come up here and I can click on this little magnet and select increment snaps. And now I can kind of, oops, but I'm not, there we go. Is that, oh, I turned my snaps off. All right, there's my snaps. G, Z, there we go. See, it's kind of snapping. There we go, perfect. And then I'll turn off my snaps. All right, so now we have one other issue here, is that the center of the barrel now is now in the middle of the barrel, and we kind of want it down here at the origin. So what I'm going to do here, we're still going to use G to grab. We're going to go up here to Options, and we're going to select Origins. So now when we move this thing, we're just going to move its origin, which is its pivot point. So I'm going to G, Z, same thing, and I'm just going to move the pivot point. Whoops. Oh, let me turn on my snaps. That'll help. G, Z, and now I'll move the pivot point back down to the bottom. And then I'm going to come up here and turn off my origin. So there's my cube. It's sitting right on the ground. This is what I'm going to turn into the barrel. The height's about right. It's just the width we're going to have to adjust. Now, when you make something in a 3D modeling program, what you really want to use is a reference image. So let's add a reference image. So I will go to the File menu. I'm going to say Import. Oh God, how do I do this? Forgot. No. It is. It's not. We're not adding a mesh. We're going to do that. No, wait. We're not adding a. We're not importing anything. We're just going to add it like it were an object. So Add or Shift A, and then we're going to select Image, Reference. Don't select background. Select Reference. There we go. And now we can go pick our reference image. So let's do that. And that's going to be reference image right there. And that's in the project resources. And I'm going to say load reference image. And there's our reference image. Now you can see it's all wonky, right? So let me hit Control Z. I'm going to undo that. I should have done this in the front viewport. Let me go into the front viewport. And now I'm going to add that reference image. Add image, reference image, load reference image. There we go. Okay, now obviously this thing is enormous, so let's move it around and scale it. Oh, and notice it showed up over here as empty, because it's not really an object, it's just a reference image. So GZ, let's raise that up, and let's scale it. S. You know what? Maybe I'll use like I'll take a guess here. I'll do like S.25 enter. Ooh, that turned out pretty well. So I scaled it 25%, and then let me bring it back down to the plane right there. So that's looking about right. Now, if you're like, hey, I can't see the reference image through the cylinder, no problem. So if you come up here, you see we've got this little box, toggle X-ray up here. So let's go toggle X-ray. And now we actually can see our reference image through our mesh, and we can make sure that everything is kind of lined up. So maybe I'll go into my front view here, and maybe I will lower this reference image just a little bit more. And maybe I need to turn off my snaps. Something like that. All right. And then I can go back into my perspective view or my camera view or something. All right, maybe I want to turn off X-ray. I don't know. Well, let's go into the front view here. So to do that, I'm hitting the tilde key, which is under the escape. It's the squiggle. So let's go into the front view, go into X-ray. And I think what I need to do now is let's go shape this barrel so that it kind of matches the shape of, or we'll change our cylinder so it matches the shape of the barrel, right? So let's put some rings, some edge rings on our barrel here. I'm going to turn off X-ray mode, and so let me hit the tab key. I'm going to go into edit mode, right? So when I'll select my cylinder. Oh, and I'm going to rename that barrel, by the way. I don't want to call it cylinder anymore. It's a barrel. Let's put some edges on it. So I'm going to go into edit mode. So Control R for, Tab for edit mode. And now I'm going to hit Control R, and I should be able to put some edge rings on this. Control R. Oh, wait, that was Shift R. Control R. There we go. Control R is the ring select tool, and I'll just put some edges on here. Doesn't really matter how many. And then I'm going to hit Enter twice. Enter, Enter. Okay. Yeah, okay, that looks pretty good. So Control R is ring select. Scroll out your number of rings that you want with the middle mouse wheel, and then enter twice. All right, so now let's go into the front view and toggle X-ray mode. And now we'll scale in these, we'll kind of move our edges around so that we get something that's kind of barrel shaped. So let me go into vertex mode here. So I'm in edit mode, and I'm in vertex mode here, and I'm going to select my vertices, and I'm going to hit S to scale them, and I'm just going to kind of pull them in. Maybe I want to do that, and maybe I want to lower them. So I'll highlight them again, and I'll lower them. I'll hit G to grab, Z for the Z axis, and I'll just kind of lower them down there. And then maybe I'll do the same with these vertices here. I'll scale them in. There we go. Maybe I'll grab these and scale them in. Now it's not going to work out perfectly because it's not a perfect reference image, but it'll get us pretty close. Now, if we weren't in X-ray mode or see-through mode while we're doing this, then this wouldn't work. So, because we wouldn't be grabbing the rear-facing vertices. So if you want to grab like both the front faces and the back faces, or the front vertices and the back vertices, you have to be in X-ray mode or wireframe mode. All right, so S. And finally, let's grab that bottom one, S to scale, and just kind of pull them in. I'd say that looks pretty good. I'd say that's pretty barrel-like. So let's turn off X-ray mode, and I'd say that's a pretty good-looking barrel. So now what we'll do is we'll inset the top of the barrel. So I'm going to hide the reference image here. I'm going to go over to empty. I'm going to click the little eyeball next to it to make it go away. Goodbye. Whee! There we go. Okay. Now, how do I inset a surface in the top of my barrel? Well, I need to be in edit mode for sure. And let's go into face select and click on the top of our barrel. Now to inset a surface, that's the I key, I for inset. So I for inset, and then I can, with the mouse here, I can pull, something like that. That looks good. And now I'm still in face select mode. Let's select that face, and I'm going to push that down, or I'm going to extrude it down. So to extrude down, that's the E key. Makes a lot of sense. E for extrude. E for extrude. I'm going to grab it. I'm going to push it down just a little bit. There we go. That's looking like a barrel. And do we need to do the same for the bottom? Sure. Why not? Let's flip this guy over and click our bottom surface. I for inset. And bring our surface in a little bit. E for extrude, and just push it down just a little bit. And we done. Okay, so there is a barrel. Now in the next step, or I'm going to stop recording here because I've gotten this far and I haven't screwed up. I am going to stop recording, and then we will UV map this barrel, which is going to be a bit of an adventure, but definitely worth knowing how to do. So there is barrel video 1, and where we've made our geometry. In the next video, we'll put some textures on this.